On March the 11th, 2014, police were alerted to northern Leesburg in the state of Virginia. Let me first play you some of the 911 call.
Loudoun County Sheriff's Department, what's your emergency?
There's been a shooting over in this address. I just called 911 and you need to get over there. Thank you.
There's been a shooting?
Yes.
Where? What address, sir? I need an address.
Now, when the police arrived at the scene, they saw a car with a woman inside who had been shot to death. Here is the official dashcam footage. Please, if you can, take note of the suspect, Kelvin Forde, talking to the officer in the background.
She is dead, yeah. How did you get here? From Baltimore? Did you guys just drive? Uh-huh.
So the police bring in Kelvin for questioning. The audio of this interrogation isn't the best. The police can be heard very clearly and that's not a problem. But Kelvin's voice is quite soft and sometimes is hard to hear. So to help you, I've added in the subtitles. They may not always be accurate, but I do hope they help. I also have the crime scene photos, so as the interrogation plays, I'll show the photos to help keep you engaged and understand the story in more detail. However, before I get to the interrogation, a quick word from today's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Clockmaker. With over 30 million worldwide players, Clockmaker is an addictive free game with a touch of science fiction and puzzle adventure. The game revolves around Clocksville, a small Victorian town full of mystical mysteries and dark secrets. Because of the mechanisms of the insidious Clockmaker, the townspeople find themselves in a cycle of temporary anomalies, illusions and dangerous traps, and only you can unravel this tangle of incredible events. Solve match 3 puzzles to discover a compelling story, unravel the dark secrets of the city, and defeat the villain. And if you get tired of riddles, the kind of townspeople are there to help you relax at fun fairs and holidays, because life in the city does not stop for a second. A kaleidoscope of events will help you dive into the atmosphere of European architecture, vintage fashion and beautiful mechanisms made with elegance. Steampunk has never been so beautiful. No more choosing between a detective story and decoration. All of that you will find in Clocksville, and even if your internet fails, it will not stop your journey, and the user-friendly interface will not allow you to stray from the path of your main investigation. And most importantly, it's all completely free. So why wait any longer? Click the link in the description and receive 10 free crystals from me and start your Clockmaker adventure, now available on iOS and Android.
How long you been married?
25 years.
25 years, that's a long time. Can you tell us what happened today?
Things just get out of hand.
And I had lost my job that I had for like 10 years.
You working now?
No, I'm not. Like, she was seeing someone, but right now, that's not it. But when she showed me the separation paper, they said, you should at least tell me, you know, I wouldn't have to come here and make a fool of myself.
Absolutely.
Because she'd been doing that to me a long time. But so I turned and I asked if she had packed up my things from the house. She said, no, everything is still there. So.
When was that?
That was last Friday.
Last Friday?
Today is
Tuesday.
Last Friday. And I went, I said, okay, and I leave, and I went home and I pack up my stuff and I get into the storage. And she had like 2 barrels in the storage, so I told her I would bring her and I'd take them to the house for her. And when they took me to the storage and but then I saw the bed and a lot of other stuff they couldn't fit in the car. So I told her, she would probably have to get a truck or something. And I had stopped on the street and I was talking to her at work. She was still at work because I said something, she sleeps there. And that was it. So I asked her if she's not coming home. I want to talk to her. She said no. Because even when I went there that Friday and that thing, I asked her why she had the divorce papers in her job,
Right.
They're not, she don't sleep there anymore. Because she had a room there, but she don't sleep there since we had got that house. She went to the attorney today. And this is the whole truth. She went to the attorney today and for advice, and that's why. So we just leave them in the car. So I said, okay. And I said, I went home and I did my stuff. So then I was talking to her when I was taking back the car to her, and this was like 2, 3 in the morning. And
This was still Friday night, Saturday morning.
Yeah. I was talking to her and, I asked her why she's doing this, way she can tell me whatever. And I said, you could at least tell me. I said, how long the divorce would take? She said, a year. I said, we can do it quicker because...
So to summarize so far, the suspect mentions he had been going through financial difficulty. Him and his wife were not getting along and she wanted a divorce. It seems to me with each sentence he pauses before he answers. It's as if he's realizing the magnitude of the situation with each new revelation of his story. The police are now going to ask him about what happened in the car on the day of his wife's death.
So you guys are having this discussion in the car. What happened then?
It's okay. You've been through a lot. Emotionally, sounds to me like you're on that roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Sometimes things get out of control and you just don't know what to do.
And sometimes we do things out of character.
Yeah.
Things that we regret.
Is that what happened?
Huh?
Is that what happened today?
Why? I did some other character?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not a monster. At least you don't appear to be that way to me.
You're a guy who loves his wife.
Yeah.
I feel like a monster, that's how I feel.
Well, I don't think that.
Neither do I.
Because y'all don't know, that's why.
I don't know. I only know what you've told us.
And that's the truth.
I believe you. I believe that.
I don't know what to say, how I feel, or what it is. I don't know. It's like,
Well,
you can't understand.
Let's start with a couple of basics.
Hmm.
How did the gun get in the car?
I had the gun in my bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your gun?
Pardon me?
Your gun?
Yes.
You bought it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when did the gun come out?
I took the gun out. I had it out yesterday before Sunday. I was at the storage and I took it out in my bag today. I brought it out in my bag.
Okay, so you had it in the car in your bag? Which bag is yours?
The one, 2 bags, the backpack, and the computer.
So you had this gun, and was it loaded?
Yeah.
Did you have it on your person at all?
Mm-mm.
Just in that backpack?
In the computer bag, yeah.
Oh, in the computer bag.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you guys were talking, you pulled the gun out? What we're talking about here is a moment when you did something that you're not proud of. A moment that's out of character. It does not mean that you're a monster. What it means is that we're all human and we all have limits. We all have breaking points. We all have those times where things get out of hand. That we do something that we can't even comprehend after the fact. And it takes us a while to decide whether or not we even understand what happened. I think you had one of those moments today. I think you had a moment where you did something that you, at this point, haven't even come to grips with yet as to what occurred. You did something that you're not proud of and that you really don't want to process right now. And I don't blame you. You pulled the gun out, probably thinking that you were going to scare her at first. Was that your thought?
I don't know.
I mean, you had to feel like you had lost control. That she had all the control in your relationship, whether she was going, whether she's not going. She's
I
hanging.
told her, even when I told her she have to handle, I got the blade, you know. She can hurt me every time. I don't know, it's like, I tell her, I'm in here, you know, it's like, I have friends. I don't have anybody, you know. I have a friend.
You're here alone besides your grandchildren and your children, right? She's your rock. She's your anchor to here in your life.
Okay.
What did she say when she saw the gun?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's an interesting theory the police have put out. What they've said is that you are here alone. For him to feel safe, for him to feel secure and to lean on someone, the only person he had was his wife. But she didn't want him. She wanted someone else. This put him in a desperate situation. This put him in a situation where if I can't have you, then nobody else can. The police are going to continue on questioning the incident with the suspect now.
How many shots did you fire?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know I got it when I called 911 and
Do you remember firing the gun?
Yeah.
At her?
So much shit in there. It was only two of us.
What did you do after you fired the shots?
Like I said, I don't know. I called 911 and it feels like forever. I went on the street. I looked to see if I see them. I don't know. And I don't know.
What'd you tell the dispatcher?
I don't. I just called. I don't know.
Okay. So just to get a few things straight, okay? You were driving her down to Ashburn to drop the bags off. Was that correct? She was going to go to her sister's and drop the bags off. But along the way, you guys were having this discussion because she was going back and forth as to whether or not she was going to Jamaica today. Is that correct?
Everything I told you, that's exactly like it is.
Okay.
So we're just trying to clarify.
She said she wanted to go to the bank, and I said, okay. And I don't know what the flight time was. She said, I said that the whole weekend she wanted to go to the bank. And she said, I said, well, okay. She said, it's only 2:00 or something. But
You said when you stopped there, because you wanted to talk, that you didn't want to quarrel, you didn't want to fight and argue, right? But she started quarreling with you.
I wouldn't say she quarreled. She,
What?
She's had this way that she would raise her voice, she was singing, but I don't quite say it. I don't know, but
She sounds like the type that would be like matter of fact. She just tells you how it is. Is that right? No?
Mm-mm. She would never tell you like it is. It's always some story she doesn't say it like it is.
Kept you guessing?
I don't know.
You're not a bad person, Kelvin. A bad person, or a person that's what you claim that you're a monster, that type of person is someone that wouldn't have any kind of emotion right now. Wouldn't be upset. There'd be no remorse for what happened. That's clearly not you. Obviously, you're devastated and you're trying to process everything that has happened. And I'm sure it's almost something that's incomprehensible.
You were trying to hold on to her.
Okay, this needs to be said. Kelvin is just being a little bitch. Let's break down what's actually going on. His wife looked at him and said, well, we've been together for a number of years, right? You can't provide for me. You're going from job to job. You have no financial security. You don't make me feel wanted or needed. So she looked for attention elsewhere. Maybe going elsewhere outside of her marriage, yeah, immoral, whatever you want to call it, certainly not worth killing over. Look at him now. He certainly seems remorseful. He's coming to terms with what he did, and he does regret it, that's for sure. And I think the reason why the police are looking at him saying, you're not a bad guy, is because in comparison to other suspects that they have interrogated, they can see this guy was just in a tough spot, whereas other men or suspects are more sinister than him. But that doesn't matter. Kelvin needs to be held accountable, and the police are about to do just that.
You knew when you left the storage place that the gun was with you, didn't you? When you left that storage place, you knew what was in the bags that you were carrying. The stuff to go to Ashburn. You knew that there was a water bottle and a gun in your computer bag, right? And you drive out here and you just want her to listen. You just want her to stop long enough and talk to you. To not waffle back and forth. To make a decision, to stick with it. To do one way or another. And then even after all that, after you fired the shot, you still, at that point, realized that you had to get her help. That you had to call for somebody to help her because you still loved her. You were still holding on. She had put you in a situation where you felt paranoid, where you felt like she was walking away from you and not even having the decency to tell you.
I don't feel that way.
How do you feel? How does Kelvin feel?
I don't even know how I feel it. As I said, I don't feel she was walking away. I don't feel that.
But you were in the driver's seat when you got the gun? And she was in the passenger seat up front.
Yeah, the back door in the back of her.
Okay. So, let's say I'm you. I'm in the driver's seat, and Mike here is in the passenger seat. You would reach back with your right hand to get the bag, am I right?
It's possible, as I said.
Mm-hmm. And you bring the bag up to your lap. Do you remember which hand you would have reached into the bag with, or did you bring the bag up front, or did you just reach into the bag? Do you remember any of those details?
I can't say remember, and it's
Obviously, we know it's difficult to talk about. It's difficult for you to talk about. We understand that. But it's important that we know from Kelvin's point of view what happened today. And that's why we're here, just trying to piece that one together. Because we need to know from your point of view on what took place.
I try to tell you all to the best of my knowledge.
I know. I believe you, and I appreciate that.
We just want to make sure we don't miss something.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
To go into the details like that, everything I cannot remember like that right now. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I tried to be as cooperative for the sake of getting an attorney. I don't have to answer, but I try to talk to y'all.
We
It's
appreciate
not
that.
It is that. Yeah, it's not that. You know. I just tell you that.
Well, can you do me a favor? Can you just take us through once more? I know you have already, but once more about when you went up to that area and parked and talked to Ruby, and were you in the car, outside the car, when you were on the phone with 911?
I believe I was outside the car.
Where was your phone?
My phone,
Was it on you? Was it in your pocket, or was it in the car, or somewhere else?
I believe it was on me.
And what kind of phone do you have?
We both have Samsung phones.
They're both Samsungs. Same model? Same style phone?
Mm-hmm.
Color and everything.
Did you call her sister?
I don't believe I called her.
So is her sister still expecting her?
I don't know. I don't know.
You didn't call
Huh?
to tell her anything. You didn't call her sister.
I didn't speak to his sister. No, I didn't. She told me to call her earlier. I didn't call her. No.
You told us earlier that you went up and down the street looking for the rescue squad, looking for the ambulance. Anybody else who was coming to help.
Mm-hmm.
How far down the street did you go? Did you go all the way back down to the stop sign?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I had heard like the ambulance or something, and I look and I run, and I don't know. I don't know.
So whilst Kelvin has explained to some detail what happened, how he fired the gun, maybe it was in his bag, computer bag, whatever it may be, he hasn't actually gone into detail on the why. Kelvin, why did you do this? The police are now going to question him further on this.
So far, what we're only going to be able to do is give them the hard facts. Kelvin had a gun. Kelvin drove. Kelvin stopped the car. Kelvin fired the shot. Because you've been very cooperative. You've told us all that stuff. You've been very helpful. Where you haven't been helpful is the why. So you leave that why out there for people to just fill in the blank with what they think. And earlier when I mentioned it, I said, this is what I'm hearing. You said, no, that's not right. That's not what I'm feeling. And I said, okay, well, what are you feeling?
I don't even feel anything, right? I don't know how I feel. And it's not something that I can explain. It's nothing that I feel like this before. I never felt this way.
Okay.
Man, you're saying today, I could say, where did I leave New York? Where did I come down here? You know?
Right.
I can look at everything else, but that's not the point, you know?
But we're not talking about how you're feeling right now after what happened. We're talking
That's what I'm
about
saying.
what you're feeling
all not
when it happened.
Right.
And why, what caused it.
Because it's one thing to be able to go back to that prosecutor and tell him these cold hard facts. This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. You know, being able to put in that human touch of the why. It keeps you from being that monster that we talked about earlier. Because we don't think you're the monster. We don't think you're some monster who...
But it looks like it without having the why.
It looks that way now. Oh. Yeah.
Don't you want us to go back and tell that Commonwealth attorney, hey, not that it's a justification, but that this is the reason. This is what happened. This is what caused this.
He explained it in his own words.
What can I say? Who said y'all don't believe me? Right? I can't, you know.
Well, I think you've been completely truthful with us so
right,
far.
And I'm saying, what can I say, right? I mean,
I think you're just leaving out that one. You're just leaving out that one detail about why.
That one thing you can't.
That's the only thing that you're not being truthful with us about is the why.
There's no reason.
And I think that in this case, it can only help you to tell us the why.
Why Kelvin decided to put the gun in the car, why Kelvin decided to drive to that cul-de-sac, why Kelvin decided to fire a shot. I mean, there's things that people could understand. You thought that she was cheating. You thought that you were losing her. You thought that she was disobeying you. You thought that she was disrespecting you. You thought that she was tearing your marriage apart or just throwing it away or acting like it didn't mean anything to her after all these years. Those are all feelings people have. Those are all explanations. They're not justifications. They're not excuses. They're just the why that we were talking about. Kelvin's not a monster. Kelvin's not pure evil.
That's what you said, like, I said I had hit her. I never did any push her, nothing. And after this game, they said, what is it? I said it wasn't nothing. They said it was my daughter I called. And they asked me to go outside. And I went downstairs. They told me to come outside. And that was it. They took me away.
Well, again, we're talking about today now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So,
do you think you're a monster now?
I don't think I'm a monster. But where am I? But what happened? Right?
We're not here to judge you based on your mistakes. We're just trying to figure out the why that drove Kelvin. The why that said, I'm going to grab the gun out of the bag.
This morning, the same thing I said. Like, the way I drive her. They said the car had a flat yesterday. This morning she was like, if the car can drive, I can.
Well, I think you drove her today because you wanted to have a little bit of an opportunity to talk to her.
Well, they said when she leaves, she wanted to take me back to the airport or her sister's house. They said she wasn't going, so.
She's a captive audience in that car. At that point, you get a chance to talk to her and figure this thing out and straighten things out.
And like I said, every night, we've been talking.
What did she say to you just before you went and reached and got the gun? Kelvin. What did she say?
She said something to you, didn't she?
Kelvin, I remember, yeah.
Well, she definitely said something once she saw the gun. I don't think anybody's had a gun pulled on them in the history of the world that hasn't had some type of response to it. Some people jump back, some people get their hands and throw their hands up in the air, and some people start asking questions, and some people start yelling. Any of that sound familiar? Do you remember yet how many shots you fired? Do you remember where you were aiming? Do you remember what actions or words prompted you to reach back for that gun? Or prompted you to pull that trigger?
Kelvin, you're extremely detailed. When you sat here and you told us the story of the events leading up to today, going way back to as far back as last week, you gave us great detail and things that you were doing, things that you did, conversations you had, places you went with your wife. We get to today, and it's understandable. It's understandable that we get to that point where this happened, where you shot your wife. We get to that point, and you stop talking to us. So I feel that you're being 100% truthful with us about everything leading up to today. And even the things you've told us so far about today, I feel you're truthful about. But there are some details, the whys, the reason you did what you did, that you're not telling us. You're leaving that part out. I know you're saying you don't remember, and I understand.
There's no reason to do something like that.
There's no justified reason to do something like that, but you had to have, something had to have caused you to do what you did. Otherwise,
We wouldn't be talking.
we wouldn't be talking. Otherwise, if there was no reason, if whether it was out of anger, whether it was out of frustration, whether it was out of jealousy, if there was none of that, and you did this, then it makes you a monster. And I don't believe that. So we have to hear Kelvin as to the why.
You've done a great job with everything else. That's just the last piece that we're missing.
Is there no explanation for it?
You didn't say that.
You didn't say that?
I said I could see that. There's no explanation for it.
I'm sorry, I missed. You said there's no explanation for it.
There's nothing that prompted you or motivated you or caused you to do that. Did she tell you that she was leaving you, or did she tell you that she had somebody else? Or did she tell you that she was going to Jamaica, whether you liked it or not? Did she call you a name or cuss you out or tell you you couldn't come back to her house anymore or tell you that she was leaving you? Anything remotely like that. Did you find out today that there was somebody else?
Listen, this answer we're looking for, it's is it going to help your situation now? No. But will it give us an understanding of why? And will it give us that opportunity to explain to others as to why? Yes, and I think that's very important. That's very important because right now we don't know. You're not telling us. And we're throwing out, based on what you told us from the days leading up to this and the relationship you had with your wife, we're throwing out what we think based on that conversation is of things that could have been going through your head at the time today. But
You're saying no to
you're saying no to all that. So we don't know. We don't know.
So the police keep probing, and he's sitting there with his head in the dumps, and he keeps saying, I don't know, and the police don't actually get a reason. But to conclude on this case, in May of 2016, he was found guilty of murder, and Kelvin Forde was sentenced to 38 years in prison. Thanks for watching.